Here is the SuperHandy 14-ton log splitter. Portable electric 14-ton, auto-return hydraulic ram system. Can be used on the ground or on a workbench, outside and inside.
Only producing 65 decibels noise during operation. Assembled is around 126 pounds. I've had this splitter for 2 years and I have used it quite often. So far, I am impressed. It has worked like a champ. Positive aspects. It uses no gasoline and engine oil. It is easy to move from place to place. It is easy to assemble. It can split 16-inch dried hardwood, even pieces with knots. Negative aspects. It is very low to the ground, so there is a lot of back bending. The front leg support is close to the hauling handle, so it is easy to have it bang into the back of one's leg. The ram stops at about 6 inches from the wedge, and many pieces, especially for stringy wood, don't completely split. Backing off and putting in another piece of wood between the partly split piece and the ram solves this problem. A couple of the hydraulic lines are below the ram, and it looks possible for a split piece to fall on a line and damage it. The installation instructions are mostly pictorial. They include some specific torque ranges for some of the bolts and hydraulic connections. The hydraulic connections require a torque wrench with a crescent head. I used a standard crescent wrench for both of these after using a torque wrench on another piece of hardware to estimate what 50 Newton meters and 80 Newton meters felt like. So far, so good. I've had no hydraulic leaks and the piston assembly is firmly attached to the frame. I needed exactly 2 gallons of AW32 hydraulic oil from Home Depot or Tractor Supply. I filled till the dipstick showed oil. Took about 1.5 gallons, ran the piston back and forth a couple of times, and then repeated several times. There was considerable air in the lines until I got to 2 gallons. It's been fine since. I use a 50-foot extension cord from my garage to my woodpile. Splitting works about as you would expect. The diameter limitation is basically from the wedge, which is 6.5 inches high. Like other folks reported, larger sized pieces, 14 to 18 inch diameter, can be split by working in from the edge. I managed to split several pieces of oak with knots in them and a couple of 14-inch diameter crotch pieces by using the edge inward method. I wish that the splitter was about 6 inches higher than it is, but then the wheelbase would have to be quite a bit wider for stability. The splitter is quite stable as is. It has never seemed like it would tip over even with very large pieces of wood. All of the stuff that I have split has been very dry. It is mostly oak, maple and ash. The oak and ash are stringy, and those are the ones that won't quite split all the way as I noted above. Well, folks, here it is quick and dirty. It's a good little splitter, but as it is with the electric motor that it comes with, the machine will produce 14 tons. Does it split most anything that you put on? Yes, as long as you know what you're doing. On larger diameter pieces you do need to kind of nibble them down for the machine to process them effectively. That begs the question, why did I give it 5 stars? Well, the answer to that is fairly simple. The way that the splitter is constructed and built, you are able to replace any of the hydraulic components on them through a local hydraulic shop. The motor that is on it is a common frame motor. So my rating of 5 stars is due to the fact that the splitter is completely rebuildable without a whole lot of effort. My experience using this little splitter has really been a positive one, and as long as you understand that the only amount of power that you have is the power that can be generated by a little electric motor. If you keep that in mind and know what you're doing in the operation of a log splitter, I don't think you're going to have any trouble with it. For someone that has burned wood my whole life, and I have owned several different log splitters, both gas and electric, I would say that this one is probably better built than most. What I mean by that is how much steel there is in this little splitter. Unless you are a very strong individual, you are not going to pick this splitter up. There are some things that you need to keep in mind on it, one of which is that the motor is on the bottom of it and the wiring for that motor is inside a small little plastic compartment. So I would recommend not treating the machine very aggressively by pulling it over really rough terrain. Overall, I like it. It does everything that I want it to do. I do not use it for splitting whole grapple loads of wood. I do use it for resizing wood, and I've used it on a couple of trees that have fallen down that were probably 8 or 10 inches in diameter, and it handled that just fine. I didn't have many problems with it. But you need to remember that it is a small electric splitter, it is not a commercial gasoline splitter. But if you get it with the understanding that it is a small splitter for small jobs, I don't think you're going to have any trouble with it, and if something breaks on it after the warranty period is up, I don't think you're going to have many difficulties with it. I cannot comment on the company, I haven't had to deal with the company, but I can tell you that realistically there's going to be good reviews of how the company deals with service, and there's going to be bad reviews, and you know what, that's pretty much true for any and every company. I hope you found this a little bit useful, and maybe it'll help you out in some way. So here's the meat and potatoes of the whole summary of everything that I've said. Is it a good little splitter? Yes. Would I get it again, if for some reason I ever needed to? Yes. Was it difficult to assemble? No. Apart from the fact that a fair amount of the parts of it are really heavy. Do I have any trouble using it? No. Do I think that it is a good little machine for someone to have that burns wood, that needs to resize pieces of wood and wants something they can have in their basement to do it? Absolutely. As far as being too low, in a video you will see my solution at the end. I raised it about 6 inches and it made a huge difference for backache, and also lifted a hose higher in the air too. I have not had any hydraulic leaks, I have not had any part failures. I think it is a great little splitter for what it is. No more fumes with this splitter. Goodbye and thanks for watching.